The upcoming 1.4.2 patch for Phobies is by far the most significant features patch we've seen to date. In fact, it may be the most significant patch Phobies has had to date, full stop. Why is that? Let's jump in. Welcome back, everyone, to Random Thoughts. As mentioned in the intro, we're going to be talking about the upcoming patch that is right on our doorsteps. This was just announced the other day, and it has massive implications for a whole huge swath of the player base, myself included. And before we actually get into everything, I do want to say that I am part of the content affiliate program. That, of course, means that I do get some compensation from the developers of our beloved game Phobies. Just putting that out there at the front so people know the context. Now, as far as the actual notes, we're going to go from top to bottom, kind of line by line, and break down my initial reaction, my initial thoughts to this, because when this was actually announced, I was floored. And then the hits just kind of kept coming because there was such an enormous amount of stuff packed into a relatively compact set of patch notes. We're getting Lippy voice lines. This is actually really, really cool and something that's been, I don't want to say demanded by the player base, but the player base has been begging, pleading for more Lippy, and we're going to get more Lippy. So there are going to be in-game events where Lippy is then going to show up and say something, kind of interject Lippy's own thoughts into our own gameplay. Lippy will comment periodically on our in-game actions, our progress, and other events. But these events, as stated, can include dealing damage, multi-killing enemy Phobies with a single attack, league progress, and even crushing wins, which is actually really cool. I'm very curious to see, is there going to be an animation? Is Lippy going to pop on screen? What's going to happen? Presumably, this will only be after the game or when you've actually completed the turn. The reason being is that I could see this being kind of distracting if you are mid-turn, especially in Arena we're talking about. You're trying to get something done, trying to push some damage, do this, check that, and then Lippy's just yapping at you. You know, are we leaning into the territory of be careful what you wish for? I'm hoping not, but if this is overdone and every time you do something, Lippy shows up, we'll see. We'll see how people feel. We'll check back in a little while once we actually have Lippy in game and can experience the gloriousness that is Lippy in our actual games. This is the major thing for me personally, this particular subset of the notes, but it's not the only thing that's super cool about these notes, and there was even something buried a little bit later on. We'll get to that at the end. But we have an update to Frenemies Arena matches. Players can now challenge other players on their friends list to arena matches. In addition to this new mode, players can also elect to challenge friends to matches using their actual phobie levels or level 1 phobies only. Level 1 phobies matches could even allow some enterprising players to organize tournaments. I'm picking up what you're putting down, devs. In fact, a number of players, myself included, have already orchestrated a number of tournaments up to this point, just utilizing the Frenemies async system. You remember Fright Night? Well, if you don't, hit up the Random Thoughts Discord in the description of this video. Likes and subscribes, of course, do help, and you can check out the live stream RTChompGG over on Twitch. We've run multiple tournaments up to this point, and as mentioned, other content creators have also done the same. This has massive ramifications for that entire setup. In fact, it's going to make life extremely easier to try and orchestrate organized play for Phobies. It also introduces something that I'm going to colloquially call tournament mode. Is it quite everything? No. We could always have things where you have additional restrictions on what could be used, when they can be used, what map pools, etc. But this does allow for things to be put on a more equal footing. We've all been in those games where, oh, well, I guess I'm down by 85 stress levels. That's rough. It's real rough. However, it doesn't mean that you can't overcome it. Here, no more excuses. You can set the game so that you are all on level 1, and yes, there will be some collection differences, but at the very least, you will be set to the same phobie level, so you're not fighting a level 17 jar when you only have level 3 phobies. I think that's going to be music to a lot of people's ears, especially mine. including the addition of arena frenemies. One of the challenges with running tournaments up to this point is that trying to orchestrate things, especially when it's players all across the globe, can be very challenging. At least this way we can put a cap on specific rounds, whether that's through a single day event, or it's even play at your own pace, just you have it constrained so that you don't have this sprawling async game that may go on for days or weeks. And then you can actually, conclude an event. These are incredible changes that I know I have been pleading with the devs for since the game opened. I've been saying since probably my initial Phobies stream that I'm hoping that these things materialize, and here they finally are. I am incredibly excited. Now, after that, we have a change to map names. That is, well, not really changing the map names, but now they will appear during the opening sequence for new matches. This will allow players to be able to better identify maps for sharing ideas and strategies. And I love this. This is a minor thing, but actually a really, really incredible quality of life improvement for the game. It's not uncommon when you're explaining to people, hey, you want to do this on Magnificent, you want to do this on the Big House, you want to do this on the Floor is Lava, or nah, you don't really want to go that way on This May Sting a Bit, or insert a map. And the problem is that it's very difficult unless you're actively looking for those maps and really through the Frenemies menu, calling back to the previous news item, that you can even really identify this. If people aren't watching the forums or Discord in order to see what the map rotation is, or actively looking at the news item, you kind of have to go out of your way to learn what the map names are. So I think this is a great quality of life improvement and absolutely will help people, especially newer players, get onboarded, which is incredibly important for the health and longevity of the game. Next up, we have a change to quest rerolls. A confirmation pop-up will now appear if a player attempts to reroll their available selection of quests. This is intended to prevent accidental rerolls and unintentionally losing progress on partially completed quests. Honestly, I don't personally interact with my quests all that often. I need to do a better job of that. It basically just boils down to I just don't get around to doing them. I just kind of just play, and if I complete a quest, great. In this particular case, this is, again, a great quality of life improvement. This is something that I was surprised it wasn't there to begin with, but definitely needs to be there, and I'm glad that they're adding it. All right, now we're getting to not one, but two of the, what I'll refer to as secret releases within this set of patch notes. Buried within the fixes, of which there were a number of stability fixes and a variety of other bug fixes that came up throughout the patch, there was one in particular that caught my eye and was pointed out by a number of other players. Shout out to the Random Slots Discord. Again, check it in the video description. Fixed an issue that prevented Sasquatch from dying if he was occupying the same tile as a barrier or ally phobie while invisible. What's a Sasquatch? What phobie turns invisible? We may have a sneak peek, a teaser at our next stress level unlock. We aren't expecting any sort of new full disclosure level release of Phobies anytime soon. More on that in a moment. But we are getting pretty close, certain players are getting pretty close to getting new stress unlocks from the previous full disclosure release. Remember, they added all those extra stress levels and additional Phobies. Up to this point, we haven't seen them all. And the team has done a great job of keeping it a secret so that way nobody gets spoiled. Well, in this particular case, it seems as though since we're inching closer and inching closer and inching closer, the team has, of course, been putting in extra testing to ensure that all those Phobies are ready to go. This is super exciting. I'm really looking forward to seeing Sasquatch in action, especially given that it can seemingly occupy the same space as other Phobies, which would make sense since it can turn invisible. It would kind of give it away if you couldn't move into a spot or couldn't do certain things. You'd know exactly where it is. So this is pretty exciting, and I'm looking forward to it. Let me know down in the comments what you think Sasquatch is going to look like, what else it's going to do, or how the invisibility is going to work, or any other speculation you have about this new phobie. After the rest of the bug fixes, stability fixes, stuff about the promotions, we do have another spoiler. Another spoiler. That is this statement all the way at the bottom of the patch notes. We're hard at work on a creepy new update just in time for the Halloween season. New Phobies, new offers, and new features are headed your way. Happy battling the Phobies team. We now have the first confirmation that we are going to be getting a Halloween expansion, I'll call it, which timing-wise, and I've talked about this on stream, by the way, if you want to see live Phobies content, hit up my live stream, RTChompGG over on Twitch. I've talked about it a few times on stream, and many people have said, hey, wouldn't it be cool if Phobies had a Halloween event? Realistically, I think this is the worst kept secret in Phobies. Everybody was expecting a Halloween event. It just makes sense, right? How can you have Phobies and not have something tied to Halloween? The main question is, what is going to be the theme? We had the Full Disclosure release, which had a very extraterrestrial, alien sort of theme. Are we going to go into kaiju? Are we going to go into more undead themes, since they kind of got the short end of the stick in Full Disclosure, and be very fitting for the Halloween season? We're getting new Phobies. There will be new offers. I imagine there's going to be a sale, might be something with, you know, a one-time purchase for the particular expansion. But it also mentions new features, and I'm very excited to learn what those are, because right now, they've kind of checked all the boxes for me. So anything new above and beyond is just icing on the cake. I'm real excited, and I hope everybody out there is too. But let me know down in the comments what you're excited about most from this patch or for the upcoming update. That's going to do it for this particular news flash. We got a lot to cover, and I'm going to have some streams to prepare for. So as always, everybody, thank you for listening, thank you for watching, and Black Lives Matter.